Hello everyone, this is Fahim from Tech Gaming Villa. Today I'm going to talk about LG G2 versus Samsung S95B. You see in this 2 TV, on the left side LG G2 and on the right side Samsung S95B. You know LG G2 is a 2022 OLED. Its design has changed somewhat compared to last year's G1, while it is still essentially just an OLED panel with a slim frame. The bezel is now brushed steel and very defined corners as opposed to the more rounded look last year. If you move very close to the screen, you may also notice that the black edge around the OLED panel has been reduced in width by a few millimeters. Another approach to improve motion, specifically to reduce blur, but as seen in previous OLED TVs, activation of black frame insertion leads to visibly thicker and drastically lower brightness, mainly in HDR. And in addition, LG's black frame insertion system is now locked to 60 Hz in this year's models. So the benefits of BFI are getting an even harder to spot. For gaming, G2, like its predecessor, supports HDMI 2.1, AMD FreeSync and NVIDIA G-Sync compatible. It has a VRR range of 40 to 120 Hz, but unfortunately, issues such as raised black levels and flicker persist. LG has introduced a black stabilizer setting option in an attempt to mitigate the effect, but it is only a patch solution. Input lag depends on the type of signal, and in 120 Hz mode, it drops to less than 6 milliseconds. In game mode at 60 Hz, it hovers around 13 milliseconds in game mode, while it goes much higher outside of game mode. Both 13 and 6 milliseconds should satisfy most console users, but FPS games who are used to 200 Hz gaming monitors with 2 milliseconds or less may still feel a difference. I only play console games and mostly on PS5, and for the purpose, G2's picture performance is a joy to behold. Personally, I prioritize deep black levels over VRR, but this is a matter of personal preference. LG has added a separate game menu, which automatically becomes available when the TV detects a game console on its active HDMI input. The menu provides shortcuts to shadows and highlights, toggles, as well as other settings. As mentioned earlier, such tools may help you spot enemies lurking in the dark, but at the same time you will change the look of the game. I therefore only recommend using Game Optimizer to gain an advantage in competitive gaming. For my type of games, I found all of the settings detrimental to the picture experience. I prefer using a calibrated game mode instead. Looking at the darkest shades, the panel is not perfectly homogeneous. I spotted some bandings as evidenced by the shots. It's probably not something most viewers would notice, but even after all these years, LG display still has work to do on panel homogeneity. While calibrating the screen, I spotted only very little retention from the rather aggressive HDR test patterns. LG G2 seems as resilient as Sony A90J, but the nature of OLED means that burn-in will always be a risk of if you just drive the panel hard enough. I cannot test the real risk, but simply state that as compared to previous models, the retention effect from these test patterns was faster, which is reassuring and most likely related to the addition of a cooling profile or heat sink on the back of the OLED panel. Now I'm to talk about Samsung S95B picture quality. If you see, Samsung S95B qd-oled technology outdone the at first time of asking the long established and endlessly defined regular OLED technology. Fundamentally, yes, it does. Though probably inevitably this rather stark statement comes with a bunch of terms and conditions attached. It's been a long time since a TV made such an instant impact on me as the S95B did when I first fired it up. Right away, I was slapped around the face in a good way by its remarkable brightness and contrast. Bright highlights of mostly dark scenes look stunningly intense and pure, bringing such AV treats as nighttime cityscapes and starlit skies to more natural HDR light than I've seen them exhibit on any TV technology bar Samsung's impossibly expensive micro LED screens. This is partly because of the extra brightness the qd-oled design seems to enable, but also because the self-illuminating nature of the qd-oled's pixels means that the image can place its brightest highlight literally just a pixel away from its darkest point without either pixel forcing compromise from the other. S95B's brightness advantage over standard OLED technology applies across the whole screen as well as to smallish bright highlights. In fact, its full screen brightness advantage is more pronounced than the peak brightness benefit. Sun-drenched scenes and brightly lit interiors clearly appear with more vibrancy and punch on Samsung's qd-oled debutant. Samsung's high-end mini LED TVs, it should be said, can produce more raw brightness than the S95B with full screen bright images. However, even their teeny LEDs and high number of local dimming zones can't deliver small points of peak light against dark backdrops without having to dim the highlights down to avoid backlight blooming issues. So for pure local contrast, the S95B is without peer among any remotely affordable TVs. The S95B also scores over mini LED by delivering exceptional amounts of shadow detail in even the darkest scenes and picture areas. There's none of the black trash sometimes see with mini LED screens. While it was the S95B's brightness and local contrast that first caught my eye, I didn't take long to realize that actually its main attraction is its color performance. Since in HDR films, I've seen dozens, if not hundreds of times, suddenly appear with depths and vibrant ranges of color that I have never seen on any OLED-based TV before. Bright yellows and reds in particularly pop off the screen with ferocious intensity compared with screens that have to use white element in their color makeup. This does not mean that pictures look gaudy or unbalanced, though I would say so long as you are reasonably careful with some of the TV's picture settings. In fact, the S95B's images can actually look more convincing, natural and balanced, as the removal of the white image element enables the S95B to deliver a truer representation of the sort of colors creators were seeing on their professional grade mastering monitors. Some of the Samsung's premium mini LED TVs deliver huge color volumes and saturations too. But the S95B's pixel by pixel light management helps it deliver its color enhancements that bit more consistently. And while Samsung's wide viewing angle technology enables its mini LED TV pictures to suffer less color degradation when seen from wide viewing angles than those of most LCD TVs, the S95B's effective viewing angles prove to be pretty much infinity. So that's it from now. If you like this video, please subscribe and press the bell icon for future notifications update. Thanks for watching.
To change your